Rare Gem Productions proudly presents Entrepreneurially Thinking. Entrepreneurially Thinking is a presentation of BioSTL and CET, the Center for Emerging Technologies, changing the way you view new ventures and activating your entrepreneurial mindset, empowering you to create new pathways for business success in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. Here's your hosts, Cheryl and Christy. Now let's get thinking entrepreneurially.
Welcome back to the Entrepreneurially Thinking Podcast. I'm Christy Maxfield.
And I'm Dr. Cheryl Watkins-Moore. I lead our STEM Entrepreneurial Inclusion Initiative here for the region for BioSTL. Hey, lady.
How are you, dear?
I am well.
Excellent.
Season 11.
It is. We are
almost midway through?
We're almost 3/4 of the way through the year's worth of recording.
Wow.
I know. I can't keep track either.
It's amazing.
That's math. It's more math than my fingers and my toes.
And great guests that we've had.
Excellent stuff. And we're all able to do this thanks to the support of our founding sponsors, CET and BioSTL.
Yes, thank you guys.
So we are thrilled to continue to have their support and delighted to make sure that you know and mark your calendars for Vision 2019, the annual event that BioSTL hosts and lots of other organizations help put together. This year it's going to be on Friday, October 18th.
Yes.
It is the region's only inclusion innovation conference that celebrates, educates, and supports women, people of color, and immigrants, emerging entrepreneurs, existing business owners. They got all that and more.
Yes.
So visionstlewis.com will get you connected with that. But as always, please check out our sponsors' websites, check out ours, and make sure that you're following and subscribing, sharing all of this with all your friends as well. Because the best thing you can do to show us that you love what we're doing is to share out with your friends.
Absolutely.
So follow the ETHINKSTL, eThink Podcast, Stay Listening, iTunes, Spreaker, Facebook, LinkedIn. Share us your comments, share the posts that we post, and make sure that everybody knows how to find us.
And tell us who you like to hear from.
Yes, absolutely. We've had a few over the transom kind of things that have actually made it on air. So we're really excited about that too.
Over the webs?
Over the interwebs. And the Googles.
The Googles.
Oh, you guys indulge me too much. You know, I'm just going to keep saying it if you think it's cute.
We love it.
All right.
So, you guys.
Yeah.
This is something interesting. We have a guest here today. She harkens a time when people wrote things.
Like notes?
Like notes.
And letters?
Letters. So writing a letter, a note, or a list of things to do is becoming more sentimental in the days of technological advances.
I love me some paper and pen, let me tell you.
Well, I used to do my grocery shopping on paper and pen, but you know what? I would forget the damn piece of paper when I was at the store. So, of course, I morphed to my phone, but
there have got to be other things you write down.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you notes, all of that. I write down.
Yeah.
I make sure
and you know I got
that.
at least one notebook. If not, I actually have 3 in my bag right now.
Of journals.
3 different notebooks, just work related.
Oh, I do too. Yeah. So we are now more aware of that intimacy of pen to paper. It's intimacy. That's interesting. And how the simple gesture to journal our day or even sending a simple thank you card helps to keep us focused on the important things in life. Yes, I tell my son all the time, somebody sends you something, you send them a handwritten thank you note. I don't care about texting. I don't care about that. Send people handwritten stuff. Our guest today believes that our lives are as books. There are many chapters. There are tearjerkers. There are happy endings. There are no happy endings. There are no endings. Just a whole bunch of stuff going on.
It's a lot of chapters and run-on sentences.
A whole bunch of chapters, right? But most importantly, that fact that it has to be written is the most important piece of it. So how will you write your chapters? Stay listening and find out.
CET, the Center for Emerging Technologies, is a proud founding sponsor of the Entrepreneurially Thinking Podcast. We want you to know about all the great resources they provide, including the Square One Ignite and Bootcamp programs, as well as the online startup toolkit. The toolkit has videos, articles, and other materials to help you build your business. For more information about CET's programs, visit CETSTL.com. And for your renewed and continued support, CET, we say thank you.
Purpose First Advisors is proud to support the Entrepreneurially Thinking Podcast. Purpose First works with entrepreneurs and the organizations that support them to accelerate business formation, scaling, and transformational growth. For more information about how to work with Purpose First Advisors on business model validation, financial modeling, core messaging, or other growth and profitability strategies. Visit purposefirstadvisors.com.
Hello, my name is Amy, and I am the owner of Aims Moon Paperie. And what thinking entrepreneurially means to me is doing the things that make you happy, whether it be creatively or intellectually. That's what entrepreneurially thinking means to me.
Joining us today is Amy Slaughter, owner of Aims Moon Paperie. Founded in 2016, Aims Moon is a stationery company dedicated to providing women with the tools for self-reflection and organization. I have to say,
Wow.
paper is one of my things. Mm-hmm. So when I saw, I don't even know where I saw, but it was like LinkedIn or Instagram or somewhere where one of my people was connected to Amy and anyway. Let's just say I got excited.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Right?
I know.
So we have brought her here today. Amy, we're so glad you could be here.
Thank you.
I'm ecstatic to be here. I'm a little nervous.
It's all good.
I'm excited to
They're
be
all
here.
friends. Everybody listening is
All
a
right.
friend.
Well, hey, friends.
And you know what? And if they ain't friends, then they'll stop listening.
True. That's true.
It's nobody's forced to listen to us.
Exactly.
But if you don't like us, there's something wrong.
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
We'll already say that, but we're happy that you're here.
I'm happy too.
This is really. Are you now? Y'all know I start with the very beginning history.
Yes.
Are you from St. Louis?
Absolutely. Born and raised in St. Louis.
And
yes.
here now. Did you go out and come back?
I
or-
didn't. No, I want to, but I didn't. Yeah.
Okay.
So, born and raised here in St. Louis.
And how about entrepreneurship? Does entrepreneurship run in your family?
It doesn't actually. This is, I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't run in my family. I just kind of felt like this is something that I had to do, like besides.
Well, what were you doing before?
I was working in retail.
Okay.
Yeah, I was working.
Any specific area in retail? Was it clothing or?
I tell everybody that I've worked in every mall in St. Louis.
Really?
Yes. So
You sold somebody something somewhere.
Yes, exactly. I've worked in every mall in St. Louis. So yeah, I just have a background in retail.
And what gave you the inspiration to do paper products or create something around paper? Because that's really unique.
It was literally an idea that just like popped up in my head one day. Believe it or not, I worked at IKEA and I was there seasonally, and I had got a Lego for my season, and I was just like, this would be a great opportunity for me to start my journey in entrepreneurship, because it's something I always wanted to do. Okay. And
were
I
you a kid entrepreneur? Were you?
I wasn't. No.
Okay.
So I sat around the house for a couple of days and was like, what can I do to start my entrepreneurship journey? I know that I definitely wanted to create something hands-on, and the idea popped in my head. I was like, oh, designing greeting cards. So I started off handcrafting greeting cards.
Wow.
Okay.
So you are an artist?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It took me a hard time to be like, I'm an artist, I'm a designer, because I don't have the background. Like, I didn't go to school for it.
There's a lot of people that don't have the background.
Yeah,
I was going to say, you might want to cut this, but our president doesn't have experience to do what he's doing.
Oh,
so,
wow.
you know what?
But he's doing it, though.
Yeah. So
That's a whole nother angle. I'm just not even. I'm sorry. There's just too much there.
So it is totally. So you are a hidden graphic design artist,
basically. Yeah.
Okay. So you started doing greeting cards. Where were you selling them?
I was selling them online. I had this rinky-dink website.
Everybody has to start somewhere.
Exactly. And my cards, I don't know how to explain it.
They were the first iteration.
Right.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Yes.
So I started online. I did sell in store for a bit at Bohem on Cherokee Street. She's not there anymore. But I was selling my cards there for a bit. And
so you got into someone's brick and mortar.
I did, because I was working there.
Okay.
But
I was
still,
working there.
if it wasn't a good product, it wasn't going to make it to the show.
That's true. That is very true.
So you knew you wanted to do entrepreneurship. You came late to self-identifying as an artist and a designer. And was paper always your medium?
Yes, I can remember as a child, I was very creative. Like I like to draw and sing and dance and all of that. So, yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome. And so when you have put together your line of products, what I find interesting is like, when I think about how to source things for my business or source things for my life, like, where would I go buy a journal? Like, there's lots of places I can go buy a journal or a book of paper, but there's very few places I can go buy one that I know is run by a woman or run by a person of color or hand designed or made by a local artisan, right? So I'm just curious of, like, what does it take to go from creating a design, which is one piece of the process, to then actually deciding, like, how do you get it on a piece of paper? How do you get it on the piece of paper you want it on? How do you turn that into... Now it's on, I have an inventory of 100 of them versus one drawing on one piece of paper. How did you figure all that out?
It took time, but I will say nowadays with how technology is, it's very easy to do it.
Okay.
It's very easy. I do work from an app. I design on an app. It's called Procreate, and I literally just can send those images. I work with a local print shop here.
Okay. So how did you develop that relationship?
I just went in and
just talk to them.
Yeah, just talk to them. Yeah. And it was like, this is my new collection. I want to print this. And the people that I work with, they're really cool and like down to earth. And they do an amazing job also. So, it's really easy. I literally design, save the image, and can send it over. Also, there is online print shops and stuff that you can just send your image to, and they'll, do the product.
But I imagine, like me, you're a bit of a paper snob, and I say that in like the best possible way.
You have 3 notebooks.
Yeah,
so
I got 3 books, and none of them are high-end paper, right? They're very functional, but when it comes to one of our guests, Marissa Payne, she's a coach, and I had worked with her, and one of her things she gives her coachees is a book, a journal, right? And I didn't write in it. And she looked at me and she's like, you need to write in the journal. And I'm like, but it's so pretty. I don't want to write in the journal. She's like, it's paper. You got to write in the journal. Yes. I was like, okay. So like one of my personal growth moments was writing in the pretty journal because I was just afraid to use it. So anyway, enough about me.
So funny.
But like how, like, I guess that's also the thing. It's your design is there. I'm just fascinated by this. Sorry. Your design is there. And then how does the paper actually represent your aesthetic as well? Like, to me, that would be like really important because I know you could make paper. That's a whole nother thing, right? It is. But you can also source product that is, well, you could.
Who in the world makes paper?
I'm sure we can find somebody.
Yes.
Oh my God.
We can, actually.
But there is just
but you're
this,
right,
like, how are you choosing sort of what your design ends up on? Because that, I would imagine, represents what Aims Moon is as much as the design does.
Yeah. That's true.
So how do you make that decision? Like, this gets printed on this kind of paper or that kind of paper?
So when it comes to my greeting cards, because that's my biggest selling products, I do have a card stock pound, I guess that's what you call it, that I do work with.
Okay.
So thinking about like the notebooks and stuff, I'm trying to actually produce my own notebooks, and that has been like I'm still trying to figure out how can I,
That's a process. What I'm reading into your body language is that's a process.
I'm like,
so what kind
she's wrestling with it. Because I'm like, because I was also like, one of these days I'm going to want swag from my company and I'm going to want swag. And I'm like, maybe my swag could be a notebook like Marissa Payne, and it'd be so pretty nobody wants to write it. And maybe I could work with Amy to make that happen. Like, this is really how far I took it before we even invited her on the show.
What's the product? Because you clearly understand the product line.
Yeah, I've been stalking her.
What's the product line that you have? So you have greeting cards. You have, what else do you have?
I have greeting cards, notebooks, sticky notes, planners, and pens. At this moment.
Okay.
Yeah. So some of them, like my pens, I do outsource.
So when you say pens, are you talking about pens that stick on your clothing or pens you
writing
write
pens?
with?
Yes, writing pens. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just to be clear.
That's okay, because my husband says that word the same way, and I always have to ask him the same question. I'm like, what are you talking about? What type of thing?
No, yeah.
I think it's a Missouri thing.
Probably.
He wasn't raised in St. Louis, so I can't blame St. Louis, but I'll blame Missouri.
So you have that portfolio now, and each one of those has your unique designs. Mm-hmm. That's really cool, because I know I love different, and I'm like you, I don't want to use the pretty books.
Yeah. But I'll give them to other people to use.
Pretty.
I know.
Yes. But it goes back to like papyrus. Is that one of your competitors?
Papyrus.
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 Okay. Papyrus. Okay.
That's okay. Yeah. It's papyrus to you, papyrus to the rest of us, whatever works.
But it's, so it's unique. Well, I don't even think of them as unique. Yours are, I'm sure, very, very unique, because they've commercialized theirs now.
Yeah.
So is that like a competitor for you, or, and how are you selling your product? Is it just online?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I am just online at this time. Yeah, they're not, I wouldn't really consider them a competitor because of how you explain that. Like, my products are more unique and theirs are more like mainstream. But
I look at, for the, like you're talking about the quality of paper, you know, with some of their, their product lines, especially their journals. Sometimes they have, what is that? It's almost like a linen type of, is that what the type of paper that you're looking at, different types of paper, like for your greeting cards?
I don't know. I like more of the, their cards are very beautiful, by the way, but I like more of the smooth finish for my
How
cards.
long have you been in business selling
3
online?
years.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
3 years now. So.
And I forgot to ask the obvious question, which is, what does your name mean? So Aims Moon Paperie.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Yes. So Aims is my family nickname. That's what they call me, Aims. And then Moon, because I am obsessed with the moon phases. I think the moon is very beautiful.
So you're a lunar baby.
Yes. Absolutely. And then Paperie because of paper.
Got it. Okay. I thought the Aims came from Amy, but I wasn't entirely sure.
Yes.
I really, because I kept, when I would put it in the Googles, I'd add an E. I'd do all sorts of things that got me went one off. So it's AIMS Moon Paperie. That's awesome.
So what are the things that you learned in 3 years around entrepreneurship, building this business? What are some of those things that you learned?
That's a good question. I'm still learning. I'm going to put that out there.
We all are.
Any entrepreneur. I was going to say, when you stop learning, you're either dead or you're out of business.
Exactly.
There you go. Hopefully you're just out of business.
Right. Yeah.
That you can come back from. That dead thing. Oh, man, that's a bitch. I'm just saying.
Oh, my God.
Little inconvenience there.
I'm just saying it slows down the momentum.
Yes,
like
exactly.
nothing else.
God.
But enough about me.
So I would say the number one thing that I learned is that it's more personal than business wise. I learned a lot about myself and how far I can push myself and how, believing in yourself thing. Like I said, it's more personal about.
So were you an introvert before, and this is pushing you outside of your comfort zone? Yeah.
I'm still kind of on the introverted side. Like I said, it's more so about believing in myself and knowing what I can do and how far I can go with my dreams, making it reality.
So who supports you? Because, a lot of times it's not just you in the business. Who's supporting that and that's giving you that strength and faith and all of that?
So definitely my family. They support me in the best ways that they can. But over these 3 years, I have gained relationships with other entrepreneurs and they have become support systems for me also.
That's great. Well, we're going to talk more about that, particularly the dreams part when we come back.
BioSTL is a proud founding sponsor of the Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast. We want you to know about all the great things they are up to, including the BioSTL STEM, Entrepreneur Inclusion Initiative, and Fundamentals program for early stage would-be entrepreneurs in the life sciences in St. Louis. You can learn more about all of BioSTL's programs by visiting biostl.org. And for your renewed and continuing support, BioSTL, we say thank you.
I'm Mindy Mazer. I'm the Executive Director of Brazen St. Louis, and entrepreneurial thinking to me means no ceilings. And no ceilings means blue sky, making sure that we can actualize on all of those big dreams and big business ideas in our blue sky.
So, Amy, you talked about, the need to believe in yourself, which we know that for so many of us, whether we're entrepreneurs or not, is a huge deal, right? Living into our own potential. You actually stepped out, I would say, with a whole lot of faith, right? You knew you were going to be an entrepreneur, even though you didn't have that necessarily that role model in your family there. So I from the outside looking in, be like, you already believed in yourself. But I get it. I get that journey of like getting to know yourself better. So what is your dream for your company? Right now it's stationery. You're doing all the designs. You're working with local printers to source the materials and things like that. Where do you want to be sort of in the pantheon of paper people?
So,
I like that pantheon of paper people.
That was nice, wasn't it?
So cool. She's a cool kid.
Right. So 2 of my biggest goals is the first one, I want to be able to manufacture all of my products. So I don't want to say like have my own factory. That sound like, I don't want to use that word, but like I said, I want to be able to. What does
that sound like to you?
Saying factory?
Yeah.
It sounds like too strict and like, I don't know. It doesn't sound unique to how I feel about my
Doesn't feel as
business.
Organic as all that goes?
Yeah.
Because you're creative.
Exactly.
Because that's so, that is, manufacturing is a whole different thing.
But you want to own the operation.
Basically, yes. Okay. I want to do that. And then my other goal is I want to sell my products wholesale in Target. That's like one of my... Well, that's the first biggest goal, then the manufacturing thing, but Target.
6 1, half a dozen the other, girl. You got to figure out the pathway too. Exactly. So you never know which sequence it's going to come in.
And you know what? Start talking to people. You never know.
Totally. Have you ever thought of licensing your designs too?
I have, yes. Specifically want somebody to help me look more into that, probably like a lawyer type person or whatever.
Yeah, we'll talk about that offline.
Okay.
So one of the things you mentioned before too was that you got hooked into other entrepreneurs, but it does sound like you're probably not hooked into other resources to help you build your company.
Yes.
So for the listeners we have who are like, I'm with you, like I launched, I'm making some money, I'm doing this full time, and I've just kind of organically gotten connected to people. How did you start that organic getting to know people process?
It was doing vendor events. So doing events where I set up my booth. Set up a booth or whatever. Yeah. And I'm still doing that today. So that's how I
What type of events do you set up at?
Mostly it's always events where there's African American targeted customers,
Focus.
however you want to do, women or whatever.
Because I was going to ask you about your products. Are they? You're an African American woman. Are your paper designs? Are they African American centric or?
I have the my latest collection is my She Blossom collection, and it is African American women targeted. With African American women actually on the cards and stuff. Yeah. So that is one of the collections that is targeted to African American women.
So you have a diverse,
I would like to think so, because I have a botanical collection where it's just beautiful leaves and stuff like that. And so I like to think that it's pretty diverse.
But I think it's very unique for an African-American woman to be in this space. And that's why I was just asking, how are you reflecting that in your product? So it looks like through your product lines,
yeah, exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Ooh.
I just gave Cheryl a little photo to look at.
It's
the
beautiful.
Googles, they're good like
the
that.
Googles are very good. These are
good
beautiful.
like that. Yes, that's
you.
my thing. I want you to listen a little more. There's people
love it.
already
Thank
listening,
you.
rolling their eyes like, is she over that yet? Nope. Nope, I ain't over it yet. So you're got these dreams. You started to do vendor events. You were able to start to connect into other entrepreneurs. With about 3 years under your belt and clearly more designs and ideas there, what do you think are some of the next steps that you're going to need to take to move forward in your journey as a business owner and as an artist?
I always like to talk on a personal level. I feel like, I don't know, there's a fear there that's kind of like holding me back from
It's
like
fear,
really just
exactly, for anybody is overcoming that, because we all come with fears and we're not sure of, but it's stepping out. What we talk about on this podcast, stepping outside of your comfort zone and moving forward.
Yeah.
With your plans. What are your goals for just the next year?
I want to produce my own notebooks.
Okay.
So I actually want to get machinery and,
be able to do the binding.
Yes, binding, all of that. That's like my next goal for this year. Actually, I want to complete that this year.
Okay. And then when are we going to start working on the Target connection?
I don't know how I would reach out to them, like what I would say, what I will like send, to them. So yeah, I'm trying to figure that out.
So the really cool thing about St. Louis is there's lots of resources to help you get connected in that. Like, I know Cheryl was pointing at me. I am one of them, but I'm not the only one of them.
Yeah, okay.
And so, having folks like you on our show is really important to us because I think your journey is a microcosm of a lot of entrepreneurs' journeys, particularly those who've been successful in getting product into market. And then, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but then are like, what next?
Yeah, what's the next step?
Right? And because you can do the hustle, right? I'm sure you're working the vendor shows. I'm sure you're working the website. I'm sure, I know as an artist, you got the ideas, right? And then it's sort of, how do you take it to that next level and go? And what I love is that you have an idea of how big you want to be, which is so much we kind of like
vision, right?
Forget that we have to have an idea of what kind of business we want. Like if you wanted to have a storefront, or if you wanted to be the wholesaler, or if you wanted to print other people's designs, those are all different ways of being in the same line of business. And you're like, nope, I want to make my products.
Yeah.
I want to
manufacture.
I want to manufacture, whether we call it a factory or not. I want to control that process.
Exactly.
And I want to be, and Target to me represents like, I want to be a brand.
Right.
Yes, basically.
That whether it's Target or any place else, it's recognition. And I always share the story of my dad, right? Dad owned a florist. Dad owned one location in one place, and that was the goal was not to work for anybody else. Here locally, we have a florist named Walter Knoll, right? And Walter Knoll is wholesale, it's retail, it's in, you could go for your wedding flowers and you could have them make sure your plants in your building, your office building, right? They do it all. And they're like a little mini local chain in that regard. And then there's 1-800-Flowers. Right? My dad was not Walter Knoll. My dad was 1-800-Flowers, right? So like knowing where you want to be in the world is so much a part of this. And then being okay with whatever the answer is.
Exactly.
Because I don't know about you, but I get like all sorts of worked up on like, should I want more? Should success be bigger than this?
Right, yeah.
Like, what if this is all I want? What are people going to think of me if this is all I want?
I was going to say, I think women, we typically don't dream big because we're afraid, for whatever reasons, while some of our counterparts think extremely big, and no matter if it's realistic or not.
Yeah, I could see a guy being like, I'm going to own the forest and I'm going to mill the paper and then I'm going to, whatever.
But I think that, because I was just thinking, you just like what Christy said, you've already started doing certain things to build your business. Maybe it is, because I was thinking Square One is a great opportunity, or hooking up with Christy to understand what are the other processes that you need to build into your business. Because it sounds like you've got the creative side. Now it's really corralling the business side.
Yeah, it is.
And understanding, how do I get to, from this point to a manufacturing point where I'm going to build my manufacturing plant. I think square one, and I'm hyping square one as a great opportunity.
Thank you very much.
to, because it provides these vetted mentors that works with, they're usually at an earlier stage than you are. But I think you could certainly get that mentoring and that support and potential connections.
Exactly.
That you need.
So what are some of the things, as a young entrepreneur, if somebody else was ending their seasonal gig and looking at what was ahead of them, what would you say to them if they said like one of my ideas is that I might want to have my own business?
What would you tell them?
I would tell them to write down everything that it is that they want to do.
Yes, and that's not just because she sells paper.
It's not.
It doesn't have nothing to do with paper, I promise.
But it is a nice product tie-in. I'm winking at her now in a not so subtle way.
Great way to sell a product.
Right.
No, but I love that answer. So why do you write it down?
Right.
You write down everything to get it out of your head, to put it on paper, because it looks real on paper. It looks like, okay, this is the first step. This means that this is going to happen for me because it's on paper. I can see it.
It's structured.
I know it's structured.
Because in your head can go to 50 different places. Right.
Look, I agree.
She has traversed that. So
Yes. So write down your goals. Write down. Don't even put it. You don't even have to be specific like with your steps. Just get everything out on paper.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so now as you enter, your third, fourth year of business, what kind of ideas are you putting on paper?
Square one.
Okay, she got the message.
Okay, she got the message.
You don't get no check for that.
I did. I'm gonna go home and Google.
Don't worry, I'll hook you up.
Okay, cool.
I'll hook you up.
It's getting this notebook, you guys, like really serious. I'm really trying to figure out. Not trying, but I am like researching how I can get this, start manufacturing my own notebooks. And then I have a cute little calligraphy workshop coming up. So I'm writing down, the itinerary for that.
So you know how to do calligraphy? That is amazing.
She's an artist.
That is amazing.
Yes.
I tried to pretend like I could do that one day, and I was like, stay in your wheelhouse.
I've seen your handwriting.
Right, stay in your wheelhouse.
You can look at mine.
Oh my God.
We made her snort. I feel like so successful because I'm usually the snorter in the room.
That is so embarrassing.
No, that means you were in it.
Okay,
you were in it and you were feeling it, and it's real and authentic.
Oh
and
my God.
I love you for that. I love you for that.
Lord have mercy. Okay.
So if people want to keep track of you and know where what you're doing and how to get your designs and how to buy and all that kind of stuff, where should they look for you?
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. All Aims Moon Paperie, and my website is aimsmoonpaperie.com.
Awesome.
Wow.
Well, we really appreciate you coming out, spending some time with us, and sharing your story, because being in this place where you're like, I'm still learning.
Yes, I am. Really.
I'm still trying to find the resources. I think that's a really important thing for our listeners to hear, because whether they live in St. Louis or any other city in the world, chances are they can connect in with a whole host of resources simply by asking that question to enough people, right?
Exactly.
And hearing your story. Most people
hearing your story, absolutely.
They're,
so glad,
they're lost, and when they hear your story, it's like,
or I can't start till I have it all figured out,
right?
So I know everything.
They'll be dead.
Yeah, well, we've already talked about that.
That ain't gonna happen.
Oh my God.
So we really appreciate you coming out and sharing that and helping to inspire them.
Yes.
I look forward to buying your notebook. I'm excited.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks.
Changing the way you view new ventures, unlocking your creativity and innovation, igniting your thinking about entrepreneurship. It's Entrepreneurially Thinking. Get connected and discover more. Visit entrepreneuriallythinking.com to listen to all your favorite episodes and learn more about our guests, hosts, and sponsors. Feeling inspired? Be sure to share your thoughts, questions, and stories in the comments section. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. The best way to show love is to share and subscribe. Let everybody know that you're entrepreneurially thinking.